Hey, welcome back. Again, we're at week one. We're producing some acid techno, and I think what I want to do each week, I'm going to try to get Myles involved in this part of it too, on how to research stuff out. I want to give just a quick, I mean, very quick, brief history on the whatever genre we're working on, whether it be through production or the DJing side. Give a quick little history lesson, for those that care. Acid has actually really the acid subgenre, I should say, has a really kind of, I wouldn't say deep, but it's got a really interesting history behind it. Um, Basically, like, I mean, it's rumored. I'm not sure how many people will actually say it, but it was they took this instrument that was designed for basically to replace a bass guitar or sound like a bass guitar, and they accidentally created this entire musical movement. So, what is acid techno? It's just a subgenre of electronic dance music, but it's really known for that squelchy, distorted lead, and the hypnotic and sometimes very aggressive bass lines. It was originally it's built around the Roland TB-303. That's what started all of this. It was a bassline synthesizer that uh, that really didn't do its job very well, and it ended up being used for other things. Uh, it combined techno rhythms and psychedelic futuristic sounds for under this type of music, popular in the underground rave culture, warehouse parties, things like that. Uh, what really got this started, kind of what I said on the very first slide there, it was an epic fail. The Roland TB-303 was originally designed to imitate a bass guitar, but it failed, and really badly at that. So these musicians, these house musicians, ended up loving the weird sounds instead, and that's kind of where it went. Acid music had its beginnings here in the U.S. around the mid 1980s in Chicago. The early DJs and producers were experimenting with the TB-303, like I explained on the previous one, because it was just a massive failure for the other primary music industry. Um, and they were probably experimenting in other stuff, but we won't talk about that part of it. While making house music, and the acid sound became increasingly famous with these house pioneers, a couple of them, and they laid down some tracks, and it went from there. Especially the one it's called Acid Tracks by Future, and that it's probably copyrighted, so I can't have it running in the background. By the late 1980s and the early 1990s, the acid sound appeared to basically spread over to the UK, the rave scene over there, which they're the ones that evolved into what we know today as acid techno. Yeah, and like I said, kind of at the very beginning, many believe that the acid sound was actually discovered by accident with this 303, because these guys were playing around with it. They started getting the squelches while they're playing live. They're like, oh, here we go, because it is a sequencer. The iconic sound, the iconic gear behind the original acid, is kind of wanted to lay out what the early house producers were using to create acid house. That's kind of where it stemmed from. The 909, there was an older 606 in there that 909 eventually kind of replaced. The Roland Juno 60 and the 106 synthesizers. Pro Synth 1, or Pro 1 synth, sorry, and as well as Sequential Circuits Pro. The Insonique EPS, EMU, and the Emax were these were early synths used to with 12-bit sampling, and they were used to chop and break things up, create the break beats and vocal clips. Actual physical guitar distortion pedals like the Boss DS1 were used to get that distortion on the tail end. Mackie had these two mixers, the 1202 and the 1604, and they were overdriven preamps within them, and they were just known for helping create that gritty, compressed sound from within. Of course, the RE201 Space Echo, and then ultimately the TB-303. Now, to today standards, you can check out on the sites like eBay and Reverb, and many of these original units are selling anywhere between 2,000 to, I went down this myself. There's a couple of these instruments that were selling for well over 10,000. What makes acid unique? Acid techno unique, I should say. The fast driving BPM, like we found in the homework section, the rhythmic repeating bass lines, almost hypnotic in a sense, the heavy drum machine sound, uh, gets from the bass wobble, which we'll get into when we start laying down the track this week. Resonance sweeps and the filter tweaking, especially in the live instrument sets. Like I said, with the 303, they're playing live with this thing. They're playing and they're tweaking right there on the stage, and getting all those, the squelches and whatnot. And the dark underground vibe, and thankfully it's not been diluted over time compared to some of our other types of EDM, especially at the festivals and stuff. Why techno acid still matters? It's still big in clubs and festivals. Like when one of those drops hit, you can't even compare. Got that classic 80s instrument that's still used today, the TB303, and there's a bunch of emulators out there that to mimic the sound that they've created. I mean, Behringer, as far as from a hardware perspective, Behringer has one. It does a really good job of mimicking the 303, if not sometimes doing a better job. And of course, there's the VSTs on the computer side, on the DAWs and whatnot, that you can add in also. And this genre really influenced the current rave culture. It's kind of led into it, and as well as the crazy visuals we see out there and the festivals and modern DJ performances. Next slide here. We're not full of BS. Here's all our references we pulled. Just go ahead and, if you want, zoom in, check out any of that stuff, or just, go to the Google machine, type in the history. It is a really cool history about it. All right, till the next drop.